This is a black man with hands production plan. Yeah. There you go. Oh yeah. Let's talk that shit. It's time for talking shit. Yeah. We're gonna talk that shit. Hey, I'm still in New York. This is my last day here. I thought I'd broadcast ya and let you know I'm still chilling like a villain and illin' in New York. Still in the hotel room here with that great view of Manhattan and just looking over the landscape politically. Mitt Romney has released one more year of his tax returns. It's really interesting how he gets to adjust it and address it the way he needs to. I think it's still to bamboozle you. I don't believe it. I think he's playing games. And somebody from the IRS wrote a letter talking about he couldn't have did it any better. They've shown a lot of contributions to the church, but everybody in the Mormon church that's got money like that, they donate like that. That's how they keep it going. That's how they can finance the Prop 8 Act. And if you think that if you're gay and you're out there and you're listening to me, that's the kind of money that pours into that fight, right? The gay marriage fight. That's where a lot of the money came from. It came from Mitt Romney. You know, his personal contributions toward the Mormon church, and that's the church that really weighed in on the gay rights issues here in California or over in the homeland California. I'm still in New York. You don't believe me? Here we go. We're going to the skyline. Here we go. Here we go. We're going to the skyline. Going to the skyline. I'm taking it to the skyline. I don't know if it's too bright, but you can't see it. We're in New York City. That's a hydrogen plant over there, I think. New York City. Right here. We're in New York. New York! And that's where we are. I don't think Mitt Romney is the truth seeker. I believe he cares more about the Benjamins than he does the real citizens. He insulted the entire one half of the country. He's not trying to win anybody over. He's trying to blow you over with money, property, and prestige, and the insanity of being real, real wealthy and making sure you got yours. And don't worry about anybody else that ain't got nothing. Then he tried to say something insulting about, people who rely on the government. And the one thing that he's relying on the government with is his ability to not have to pay taxes. He's doing about 14.1% paid in taxes. And it's like he makes a lot of money off not being honest with money, in the sense that he's trying to use the tax system to build up his own life and build up his own personal wealth. And ain't nothing wrong with that, brother. I don't see nothing wrong with that, except that is the main ideology that put us in this financial this financial meltdown over the last several years. Is exactly, Mitt Romney is showing you exactly how to do it. So if Mitt Romney can teach all of us to get the right amount of money to put in the goddamn tax shelter, and he can show us the right ways to manipulate the system, then we're all going to be as wealthy as he and Ann. And we're all going to live happily ever after again. And it starts by trickling it down again. That's the same shit we got from Ronald Reagan. It ain't going to work. It's too many of us. You're going to have to redistribute some of this wealth, man. You're going to have to quit lying and hiding this shit. The company is going broke. See, so you live in a house, right? And there's 4 members in the house. And we all live in this house, and we're a family, right? And so one of the family members is careless, they're young, they're not really good with money, or something comes up. The room in the house that they live in gets a hole in it or something. So the rest of the people in the family don't just hold on to their money and say, well, I know you're a part of this, and if you fall, divided we fall, but I'm here for my own stuff, and that's all. Then that means you're not really part of the family, man. And it's like to sit here and say that we don't need help with Social Security. We don't need help with these entitlement programs because certain people in the country have figured out a way to lie, cheat, and steal and have it all legitimate, and then the rest of us just sort of suffer and not have nothing. I think it's total bullshit, you know? That's not the way to do it. You know, and I hate to break it down that simple, but that's how simple it really is. If a nitwit like Mitt can make that kind of money and all he got to do is lie and bullshit, you know, maybe the rest 47% of us want to live a little bit more honestly. Maybe we want to be able to sleep at night, right? Maybe we don't want to just screw people over when they make these investments in these derivatives and companies that don't even exist. You tell me how noble and different Bernie Madoff is opposed to Mitt Romney and the shit that he was doing with his business. I mean, I don't want to say this. Should I say it? I'm gonna say it. I really think that somebody should go through Bain Capital's books with a fine-tooth comb and look for the behavior pattern that went on with the Enron scandal. Remember that? Ain't nobody saying nothing about that. Ain't nobody saying nothing about Enron and Dick Cheney and Halliburton and the way they finagle it, and they're all buddies. They're all in it. It's like the Mad Munster Party. Donald Rumsfeld. Anybody remember the name Paul Wolfowitz? Do anybody know who Paul Wolfowitz is? Do anybody know? Jack Abramoff will tell you. These people have a history of legally and taxingly, if there's such a term, ripping us off, taking the money, running and hiding and lying and stealing and blaming people and bullshitting. Hey, Condoleezza Rice, thank for the fake-ass war. You know, thank God for integrity that comes from guys like Colin Powell. See, Colin Powell saw that they were all full of shit. Colin Powell realized it. He left the party. Colin Powell is on this side. He's seeking atonement and repenting like part of Rosh Hashanah and the New Year and the Sabbath, you know. Colin Powell wants forgiveness. And then what about the world, man? What about the world? The gig is up. Everybody's starting to realize how much money has been stolen. Are they blaming the U.S. in a lot of ways? You goddamn right. You goddamn right. Because we have sit here night after night and let George W. Bush do the things that he did to get us in this mess that we're in. And people have had enough, man. You know, people have had enough. And I think Barack Obama is a part of the awakening. You know, it's part of the awakening. Get up! Wake up! Sound the alarm! They're going to try to lie and bullshit. There's no way that Barack should lose this election, man. You better watch them. They better get Jimmy Carter's organization in here, and they better use the last set of numbers and bullshit and evidence from Florida to validate the fact that we need Jimmy Carter's organization in here and those people who watch elections. And I tell you where the real voter fraud comes in at is after the votes have been casted, Republican bastards. That's when the fraud happens. The fraud doesn't happen at the ballot box. The fraud happens when they take everything and put it in their locks. And they decide what the numbers are going to be, see? And that's where the fraudulency really exists, after the votes have been cast, the ones that they allow to be cast. The fraud comes in with what they're doing, see? Suppressing those votes is a form of voter fraud and voter tampering. Going around and telling people that certain districts are going to be closed at certain times on certain days, a certain election with certain types of ID and certainty that's not a part of the freedom and the American way of doing the voting after all these voter rights laws passed, that's voter fraud to me. The fraudulent behavior of the Republican Party should be dragged into court. The Republican National Committee should be sued for voter tampering, voter fraud, fraudulent reporting of voter fraud. See, it's fraudulent in this country to cast false accusation on things. See? And they're breaking the law by doing all this shit with the voting. If you're a woman, if you're a Latino, if you're disabled, if you're a minority, if you're in the middle class, okay, if you're gay, okay, if you're black, if you're Vietnamese, you know, if you're different, you know, if you're not wanting to go back and live in the 50s, then you better get ready for what's happening here in November. See? You better get ready. I've been in New York, man. I've seen all the differences and the love. There's love and differences, you know. That's what makes us similar. And these bastards don't care, man. This Republican Party has ran off patriots like Olympia Snow, man. The Republican Party has left a bad taste in Olympia Snow's mouth. Olympia Snow, one of the most decent, credible Republicans in the country. And I don't even like Republicans. But I'm telling you that Olympia Snow is saying no more, man. Her and several other Republicans are like, this is unfounded. You know, they fired those two fat white dudes from Pennsylvania, I think it was Ohio, because they wouldn't go down in there and mess up the votes and mess up the way the IDs are going to be done. And they were trying to expose the community to more ways to get around this racist, voter suppressing bullshit, and they were fired, you know. And the Republicans already made the announcement that the voter suppression was part of the voter aggression that they were doing on people. It's crazy. And I'm in New York, and I'm going home, and I'm going to be at the Talking Shit Studios starting tomorrow, and I'll broadcast on Sunday, probably on Monday. I got to unpack. I got to unwind. I got to get back into the theme. I'm going to go down and I'm going to film live. I'm going to go down and try to get some footage from the space shuttle that was taken over to L.A. We watched the landing on TV here in the hotel room, and I'm going to go and try to get some footage and get some history, man. These people trying to mess things up. And that space shuttle is a symbol of moving things forward. We don't go into space the way we used to because we got something better that worked different. And they even moving forward with that, man. Things are happening. We got a probe on Mars rolling around, rolling on dub, fool. What's up? You know, rolling around, taking samples and stuff, looking at stuff, shooting little red lights and everything. You know, it's a beautiful thing. I'd rather see that than them blowing shit up, having little kids run around half dead, and sending all these soldiers of ours to these countries where nobody really wants us, man. Let those people have the right to not want our asses, you know. Let those people in those countries have the right to not want our monkey asses over there. Let's come back here. Let's get our soldiers home. Let's get those men and women in uniform home so they can see their kids and stuff for Christmas. Talking about until 14. And he got to take them out gradually because then they're going to come after him in the long run, no matter how he does it. That's all for now. I talked too long. It's time to go. It's time to go back to L.A. You know, this is the last taping of what we're doing in New York City. It was fun here. We're going to be back again, too. And you know what? In the future, I think we can get to Washington, D.C. I think we can look at some monuments, and I think we can take a look at some stuff. I got a list of places I want to go. What about the Grand Canyon? What about the state capitol in California? There's a lot of stuff we can do besides just talking shit.